It's the I Can't Mom Today podcast with Heather, the new mom, and Vera, the seasoned mom. I Can't Mom Today.
Hey, this is Vera and Heather back again with another episode of I Can't Mom Today podcast. Hi, Vera.
Hey, Heather.
How are you? Jinx, double jinx, triple jinx, you owe me a Coke.
I'm good. I was a good girl today. I went and got my mammogram.
Oh, is this your first?
No. I've had a few before, but I was overdue actually. I'd been postponing it. I was due in September, and here it is January. But that was part of my little internal resolution. I don't like to say I'm making a firm resolution, but that was my promise to myself with the new year that I was going to catch up on all of my health issues. Like tomorrow, I'm going to get my teeth cleaned.
Oh,
got back in touch with my rheumatologist, and I'm going to go back on my meds. Dang it.
Yeah. Do you think you can go on a lower dose now, or is there just like one specific dose?
No, actually, I have to go back. When I first started taking it, I took 8 pills a week, and then I went down to 6 pills a week. And I asked him if I could just take 6 pills a week starting up again. He said, no, you'll be better off doing what you did before, which is the 8 pills a week for a few months. And then, which sucks because it means I'm going to lose some hair again. And my hair is finally, I'll just have to
so
save
it's like
up
you
some
and
money
Rudy.
to get extensions. I know, Rudy, my chihuahua, my semi-bald chihuahua. Yes. So maybe I'll save some money and get some hair extensions or something. But I realized that, it's hard for me to even take out the trash at this point with my rheumatoid arthritis. It's just, so it's silly. And I miss doing like my bar workouts. I miss going to my bar studio, which.
Do you mean like the bar or? Like,
the bar. I miss the bar. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Barre.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Different. Got
which
it.
I'd feel safe going to because it's small and very clean. And hello, refinery shout out. So I missed them, and I can't do that right now because my arthritis is too bad because I'm not on the meds. So it's a trade-off. I'll have less hair, but I'll be buff and gorgeous. So there you go.
Yeah. And I got to see you over the holidays, which was unexpected and unplanned. And I like talking to you, when we record these, we don't look at each other because we're just too beautiful to look at each other.
Right. Well, we get too distracted. I don't like the video with you doing this because I find myself looking at you and being like, oh, what's she doing?
Yeah.
She's writing something down. And then I lose my train of thought. So
yeah. Well, so I kid about that because Baker blinks his eyes really fast. And when he does it, I say, oh my gosh, you're too cute. I can't look at you. And he says it back to me. It's really cute. Anyway, so we don't see each other even when we do our recordings. And so this is legitimately probably the first time I've seen you in months, because we did do one recording when we had a guest on and we were on video. But I thought you looked good. The only place I could really tell, I could tell your hands. I could tell your hands were stiff and like just not, you weren't moving them like I would. I remember you moving them. So I would say that that's the only thing that I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah. My hands probably are the most noticeable part, but it's everywhere, unfortunately. I have moderate to severe RA. So even though every other freaking commercial, if you have moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis, you can try whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's, but like I said, the good news is that the medicine does work. So I'm lucky. There's some people who are on several meds for RA and they still have problems. So I'm blessed in that. I mean, of course, I think some of it has to do with my acupuncture and all that crazy stuff and the diet stuff that I do in addition to it. I think that helps. Yeah.
1-2 punch.
So yes, the combination of traditional and non-traditional medicines.
Yeah.
So there you go. So that was a long answer to how I'm doing. How are you doing, Heather?
I'm doing okay. Just hanging in, trying to get back into the routine of everything because, as many of our Facebook group members know, and maybe our listeners don't, because maybe they're not part of our Facebook, which you should be because it should be. It's a great group.
Yeah.
But my dad had brain surgery in December. I can't remember the day. It should be like melded into my brain at this point because it was just so like he had it on December 19th. And so he was having problems and my sister and I were like, his wife was very, very much so like, you've got to go in. Dad's like, she's being such a helicopter. There's nothing wrong with me, blah, blah, blah. And the day he went to the emergency room on Thursday, and I was like, you're going to the emergency room. It's not an option at this point. Like, just get your ass in the car and move on.
Yeah.
And because like the things that she was like, Stella, which is his wife, and my sister and were saying were like very classic, like stroke symptoms. And so I was like, holy shit, like my dad's gonna have a stroke, and like how fast can we get him to the hospital? But when he got there, they realized he had a mass on his brain, which wound up being glioblastoma cancer, which is very aggressive. And so he had surgery, and like it was like so important that he had surgery on a Saturday, because like the doctor was like, if we wait longer, you're gonna die. Wow. Because the cancer's the tumor's just gonna get too large, and I don't know how that works, but yeah. So he had surgery, and now he's waiting for radiation and chemo, which he came out of surgery really great. It was shocking to me how well he was. My grandfather had brain surgery, but I wasn't around it when he had it. Cause he also had a brain tumor, different type. But, so my dad, he was home by Tuesday. Like he went home really fast. He was talking, and like, I'm part of a group on Facebook as well. Cause that's my thing. I like, as soon as something happens, like I'm trying to figure out where I can go to get help, support, knowledge, etc. And so some people were like, oh, he's, been sleeping for the last, week and blah, blah, blah. So I'm very fortunate that my dad made it through okay. So we are waiting to have him start radiation chemo. And like, while we're in this holding pattern, I came back to Colorado because I literally dropped everything. And thankfully my boss was super amazing. My coworkers like really pulled up the slack, and like my boards, because I work with nonprofits, were really understanding, and just like everybody has been so amazing through this. But I know I need to get stuff done, because I'm going to go back at some point. I just don't know when. It just depends on like how his treatment goes, like how he's going. There's just a lot of balls in the air, but I just couldn't work off my laptop. I had to come back to my desktop. So I reached out to our community because I know that there are people in there that have experienced something similar, dealing with cancer, and like a parent or even with themselves. So I reached out asking for guidance on how to do this. Cause like, I'm going to get really emotional. Sorry.
It's okay.
My dad has been my favorite person since like I can remember,
Yeah.
And so it's hard seeing him go through this, but I don't want our relationship to change. I want to make sure that we continue with the same relationship that we've always had.
Yeah.
Because, just, and like, it's important for me to figure out how to make him happy. And, I've always been like the comedic relief, as well as the drama. I mean, I go both ways. So
you're a dramatic, sarcastic, sassy bitch.
Yeah. So anyways, I just reached out to people and like, what should I be doing and offering for him? And we got some really great advice on there. People were like, reach out to American Cancer Society, see if there's any nonprofits or grants or something that could help with his, with this type of cancer. They were just saying like, don't like have that be the only thing you're talking about is, the cancer, because, like and it's hard because it's like, it's hard for me to think like, what is he thinking? And he's a very private person. Like he doesn't really share his pain or grief or, anything really. In my entire life, I've seen him cry once.
Wow. Yeah. My impression of him is he likes to put the focus on other people.
Yeah. Like he's
a very giving person. He likes to, let's focus on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's thinking. Like I can ask him, but he's not telling me. So, and I've been encouraging him, like, go find somebody to talk to. Like, it's fine if you don't want to talk to me. I'm whatever. I totally fine. But you need to find somebody, because the last thing you want is to be stressed out and realize you're stressed out, and then your body can't fight what it needs to be fighting.
Yeah.
So, there were some other suggestions, just looking, like, don't like, act as normal as you can. Don't like fuss and, worry. And I mean, like, you can worry, but like, don't make it so known to him. Try to make his life as every day as normal as possible. And just that was pretty much the only thing, like the biggest thing, I guess my takeaway was just make him feel normal and not like a sick person. And he's not, I mean, like he is walking and talking and driving and, like it's insane.
Wow.
Bizarre.
That is really strange to just think that, I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, he had, something taken out of his brain.
Yeah. And it's like something really quick too. So because I asked the doctor, I was like, has this been there for like, how has this been there? And he's like, no, he's like, this is like a development over the last 2 months.
Wow.
So like, it was really quick.
Well, I saw on the Facebook page, along with some suggestions, like you said, people saying, try and talk about something other than cancer, and, try and provide some comedic relief. Like it's okay to laugh and I can see how that would be really hard because you're, obviously that's such a huge focus.
Yeah.
I remember, a mutual friend of ours, she had a tumor on her adrenal gland, and thank God it wasn't cancerous, but, she named it.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
His name, I forgot his name.
Tyrone.
That's it, Tyrone. She named it Tyrone. And so, yeah, that's all right. Because we sent her flowers and, and said, this is in honor of Tyrone. And so I thought that was, a funny way to approach it. Just something to, because, like my mother always says, if you don't laugh, you cry. Sometimes you just got to laugh,
Yeah. And he's been pretty good. He's like, because people are in the hospital has said, like, people in the hospital are like, oh, you're really healing well. He's like, I should be on the brochures of the hospital, and I'm just a model patient. Da, 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 da. So, but he's never really had to. I mean, he had knee surgery this year, and other than that, he's like high blood pressure, but nothing. And like he has lung stuff. Like he has COPD evidently, but he had like. Not because of smoking, but like just because of he had pneumonia twice. So
damages your lungs.
Yeah. So, I mean, other than that, he really has never been in the hospital. Like he's never really been a patient.
Yeah.
Up until this year with, having his knee surgery and then this. So it's an interesting navigation for him, but he is keeping his attitude positive, and he's just like, I'm not going to stress about it. And so we're trying not to stress about it.
I'm sorry.
No.
Well, that's kind of, I mean, it's one of those things where at least, and I know obviously this is not the same thing at all. But with my situation, before I was diagnosed with RA, we didn't know what was going on, and not knowing what's going on and not having a plan of action. Yeah. Is like, it creates so much anxiety and depression and fear. And at the very least, at least he's got a plan of action. So that's like where you can focus on, all right, well, this is what we're going to do. And these are the steps we're going to take. And there's something to be said for that. And something else, somebody else said too, was making sure that he has somebody to go to the doctor with him. That was
to take notes and ask different questions. And
oh, that's very, I mean, when I was really sick at the beginning of my whole thing, Jerry said, do you want me to go to the doctor with you? Like, I didn't even think about it because I'm so independent. I'm so used, I was single till I was in my mid 30s. So I was so used to doing everything myself. And I was like, I almost started to cry. I was like, really? Like, even thinking about it, I was like, you do that for me? And he's like, duh, I'm your husband. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
But it was super helpful having even just, another person listening. And sometimes they might pick up on something that you don't pick up on.
Yeah.
And, so, but I'm sure that his wife is going to be able to go with him to stuff, right?
Well, yeah. And she's not the kind of person that does, like my sister, really, if we're going to get down to all of it, I'm the one that like asks all the questions. My sister knows medical stuff because she has MS. So she knows a lot of those medical terms, but I'm the one that like is really, why are you doing that? I've always been a question asker. Like, why are you doing this? What are you doing this for? Like, what's the purpose of this? I'm like, I've always been that kind of person. So we're taking a combined effort. My sister she will be able to go to the doctor's appointments with dad and, his wife. And then my sister, she'll call my sister. My sister and I have a notes app that we link, that we can both update so that Allison can ask those questions.
Oh, cool. That's good. Yeah.
And so, because they give you like this booklet, and to my knowledge, I'm the only one that's read it. But reading through it, I got a lot of questions some questions that I wouldn't have thought of came up. So that was good for me to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, again, sometimes that's knowing that there's some kind of action you can take.
Yeah.
Something that you can do. And that definitely is one of your strong points.
Mm-hmm. I will get down to it. I'll get answers, and I don't care. I don't care if I make somebody angry or annoy somebody. I don't care. Like in the hospital, they were like, he's going to be discharged, before today. I was like, okay, what does that mean? Like today, like before noon? Are we talking like 7:00? Like, what are we talking about? Like, what's the definition of today? And because we were changing shifts because you could only have one person in at a time. And so she's like, yeah, and before noon. And I was like, okay. So he went to a CT scan, and it's like 11, noon, 1. I'm like, hey, so what's going on with his discharge? And she's like, there's no discharge in there. I was like, well, that's not what his, not what the PA said. So, and then, so I waited a little while longer, and I just like stalked her basically. And they have like a little chair section. I was like, hey, so I'm just really confused because the PA said this, you're saying this, like, what's we were supposed to be out of here at noon. What's going on? Yeah. Because I just don't have an answer. And that's really frustrating. And she's like, oh, there is an order in from the PA. But his primary has to sign up on it too. I'm like, okay, that would have been good information to know. Right. I would have stalked his primary and said, can you please release him? So they had to wait for that. But so anyway, she was like really annoyed, and and I could tell she was frustrated. And then my sister and I switched out because we didn't know how long it was gonna be from there. And within my sister being there for like 10 minutes, he was released. And I was like, of course. And so my dad's like, of course, Allison got it done. I was like, shut up. I did it. And Allison's like, yeah, she was really annoyed. She's like, you weren't the girl that was in hair. But they took really good care of my dad. So I can't complain. But I will get down to stuff, and I don't care who I offend, because like we need clear answers, and I'm willing to go above and beyond respectfully, obviously not like, give me a fucking answer. Sorry. Yeah. Leave that out.
Okay. There've been a few cuss words. I'll just warn people in the notes.
Yeah. But so I would never be disrespectful unless someone was super disrespectful to me, but they were all very nice and took very good care of them. So I appreciate their help. And I know it's such a stressful time in medical right now overall. So,
oh yeah. Yeah. That's when I was getting my mammogram earlier today. There was, they were getting ready to start up their COVID testing in addition to all the regular lab work that they have at this center, and there are these women behind me, and I could hear them talking. They're like, why is it taking so long? I don't understand. Is this the only lab in town? And they're just, and I can understand, because I was like, my appointment was at 11:15. I don't think I got to see them until like 11:40.
Jeez.
And I was frustrated because, well, even before COVID, though, it's been my experience.
Yeah, always.
You're still, like I always say, when you go to the gynecologist and the nurse will get you in and check all your vitals or whatever, tell you to put on the paper towel, and then you end up sitting in there in the paper towel for like half an hour. It's really demeaning.
Or they fake you out. They're like, Heather, and you go up and they bring you to a sub waiting room. You're like, cool. So I'm
yes, it's like being at Disney World.
Yeah, but it seriously is. But if you're like 5 minutes late, they cancel your appointment on you and charge you.
Oh, I know. Cool. They give you the evil eye and they say, we're going to charge you. And I'm like, seriously, would you really have seen me right on time? Are you serious?
Yeah.
No, it's complete BS. I actually have a friend who's a dentist, and he finally complained to his doctor about that exact problem. This was years ago. And he said to the doctor, he was like, dude, I make $175 an hour. Should I start billing you? Because I just missed out on 3 hours of work or whatever.
Yeah.
So, the doctor didn't like that very much. But
I know. But then you have the flip side that you don't want doctors being rushed through your appointment. And so
True. Very true.
but at the same time, then yeah, I don't know. I'm not in the medical field, so I can't justify or critique anybody because I've not walked a mile in their shoes. So
no.
But from the patient point, it's very frustrating.
Yes. No, exactly. No, I know. I mean, gosh, I don't want to sound unappreciative by any means.
Yeah.
But it's just frustrating sometimes. Plus, too, you're not looking forward to getting a mammogram. So sitting there, it's just prolonging. You're like, just want to get it over with.
I had my first one in 2020 and the lady was super nice. Oh my gosh, she was amazing.
Yeah.
She was like, okay, so this is what's going to happen. She's like, don't be alarmed. If you get called back, just don't stress about it. This is your first one. So it's very common to get a call back because they're trying to map out everything in your tissue to ensure that, whatever. So evidently what they do is they look at the previous year, like previous one to see if there are any changes for future ones. So
I got my first one kind of young, like when I was like 36.
Yeah.
Because my doctor said, she's like, you might want to go ahead and get one now. So that way they'll have a baseline for exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so I was like, cool. And then I just waited till after I was 40.
And then your boobs dropped and then you're like, so much.
Yeah, rocks and socks. I was actually quite complimented. Actually, she said, the tech said to me today, she said, no, you have very dense breast tissue. I was like, really? I do? Cool. I don't know. For some reason, I found that to be a big compliment.
Well, as we know, I had breast reduction surgery done when I was 23 or something like that. They've since grown back. But the doctor was like, or I don't know what the person was that was doing the mammogram. She's like, oh, your surgery, your scars look very nice. And like, I was like, thanks. She's like, you'd be surprised at the surgeries that people have on their, or that, just how botched they can be. Like, oh, Jesus. And I was young. So I was like, okay, whatever. In Tallahassee, I was like, whatever, who's the best?
Yeah. Yeah.
And luckily I got a good one. So
yeah,
he's since retired because he was old when I saw him. But in any event, so also another thing that is kind of fun, I'm trying to keep things light with my dad, is my sister and I have always had a competitive relationship, and probably more on my part than her part.
That's like I think that's almost like the condition of being a sister.
Yeah, but I think it was more like she was like, she doesn't give a shit. Like she's just like, she's fine with whatever. But I've always been very competitive because I have a closer relationship with my dad than my mom. And so I always call myself the favorite child to my dad. And I'll be like, who's your favorite child? And he's like, you. And his wife gets annoyed with that. But so since I've been gone, him and my sister have gotten a lot closer, and she has been there to support him with, especially this year with his knee surgery and now this. And so obviously that brings up some hard feelings on my part because I don't like to see anybody trying to nuzzle into my favorite child status. But he was everything. Like he was like, yeah, Allison brought over some nut like clusters or something like that. I was like, I did that. And then he would say like, gosh, somebody did this. I was like, that was me. That was still me. And so I'm like, Dad.
Yeah. Remember
things. I know.
I am the favorite.
How can you even forget? How can you forget these things?
Well, that's good. You're working on his memory. You're keeping him.
I know, but he's not remember it's me. So problem. But no, I'm glad that they have a better, they've gotten closer.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good that she's here in town. It would suck if he didn't have at least one of you guys here in town.
Yeah. And I mean, he doesn't really have a favorite. We just got along better because we were, I'm just funny.
You're just better.
I'm just funnier than I'm more entertaining is really a thing. So anyways, on that note from the favorite child.
Yes.
If you have any other suggestions, though, please go visit our Facebook post.
I came out today. Yeah. It's our group. It's a private group. So if you're not already a member, just, ask to join. And of course we'll let you in. Yes.
And we also have a Facebook page that is open, but we don't usually have We don't usually have much going on inside there besides posts. A couple posts, but
Yeah,
there's nothing
we'll
like
post the show itself,
Yeah.
post a link to the show or maybe say something every so often, but most of the conversation is on the group, the
Mhm.
Facebook group, which is I Can't Mom Today.
Yeah. So check out the group. And
Yeah.
if you have any suggestions, happy to hear it. If you've gone through this, I would love to talk with you, whether you want to connect personally or if you want to share in that group, whatever you can offer, I will respectfully read. And I
Yes. And
appreciate
you can also email us, iCan'tMomTodayPodcast@gmail too.
Mhm.
If you don't want anybody else to see it, if you want to be more private about it.
Absolutely.
You can do it that way too. And then of course we're on Twitter and Insta, I Can't
Mhm.
Mom Today podcast and YouTube and sort of kind of TikTok.
I still haven't seen it.
I'll figure all that out eventually. So, but yeah, and don't forget to rate the podcast too, please.
Yes. Give us your feedback.
And other than that, we're sending love and prayers to your dad.
Thank you.
And until next time.
Yeah. May 2021 be great.
Right. Oh,